Everybody's quiet.
You can see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, what is going on?
No, I was answering your message because I was like, yeah, we see you. What's up, Nancy? Hey.
Montalita.
I like that name, Matalita. Sounds
Hi,
spicy.
Eve.
Ooh, we got an Eve too.
Sierra.
All we need is a Lilith to pop on here and we'll be
Right,
good.
right.
Adam and Lilith. What's
I'm
up,
telling you,
Divinity?
great. So
So
I'm
what?
excited. It seems like
What?
we waited for a while to finally get this going.
Yeah.
The Bible discussion. So who's gonna introduce the topic? What are we talking about today?
Okay.
Lynna's
Hello,
introducing the
everyone, and
topic.
welcome to Conjure Crew. My name is Mademoiselle Lynna. This is Mambo Tonya and the Black Bonnet Witch, also known as Shishi.
Mm-hmm.
Today, our topic is Lilith and the Bible. So we're going to be like a bunch of rabbis in here pulling it apart and trying to figure it out.
But are we only talking about Lilith? I thought we were also talking about the concept that it could have been possible that there was man and men and women made before Adam and Eve.
Well, that all kind of goes together.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk because it's going to kind of morph into everything anyway. Because when Lynna was reading the scripture this morning, she was like, God created them, which Lynna was like, could be aliens.
Yeah,
of a different,
in the Talmud, they're saying that maybe that it was like, what is that? I saw a show. Well, you know how there are different planes. You know what I'm talking about? Like the fairy realm and us, okay? And sometimes we can go into the fairy realm and the fairies come into our realm. So it's like it's a different plane, a different earth, a different thing. It could be. I don't know. I wasn't there. I got wrinkles, but not that many.
Well, I think
I know, right?
it is
My birth certificate is not made of stone, but
Well, I think there's so many different concepts when you talk biblically and you deal with holy books or religious books anyway, because of course each tradition or religion is telling the story from their standpoint. Nobody has addressed the issue with aliens. The thing that you see, and I grew up a proper Catholic girl, so I lived all my life in church at the beginning, y'all. I was bathed in holy water, and you wouldn't even know it now, would you? But I think the thing about it was, of course, we went to mass every freaking week. Sometimes we went to mass 3-4 times a day. And it always struck me with the perception of how the scriptures are interpreted. Like you can go to one mass and one priest will say, oh, this is what this means. And then you can go to a completely different church or something and they'll say, well, this is what they mean. And I remember I asked a question about Adam and Eve early on when I was young and I got punished for it because I was very confused with it. I was like, well, how could God create this? But then he backtracked and he went back in and created other people. And then he backtracked and then we got this. And they were like, we don't want to discuss it.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about this morning too. Is in the Jewish tradition, that's the Talmud. What I was talking about is a bunch of rabbis who sit around and say, "Well, this is what this means," and they'll argue with each other, and then write down what everybody says, so that you have a different view of what this means. They pick apart the Bible, but growing up Baptist and then converting to Catholic, you weren't allowed to ask questions. I remember I asked my mom one time, if God made everything, who made God? And you know what the answer was? He just always was.
I think that's the easier answer for everything when you talk biblically. But I think there's so many things in the Bible that are questionable. And I'm glad that a lot of people on here are saying that they are researching. They know the story of Lilith or they know the story of, they have read the Bible. I think more and more people, because you get a lot of people that, people say, oh, if you read tarot or if you into any type of these discussions, you have no biblical knowledge. You don't know God. You don't know Jesus. You don't understand. And it's not true. Some of the best practitioners that I have ever met know the Bible forward and backwards.
She's talking about me.
Well, I think the thing that, we have to remember is that, going back to what you guys said before, questioning the Bible was considered little faith. We also have to take into account that basically people were not allowed to read the Bible for themselves in early English days. It had to be read only at church. Um, and if you were even a poor person and you were reading the Bible, that was considered, it was basically a sin. You were not supposed to go against what the church said. But we also have to take into consideration with any religion, with any spiritual document, people will of course put their spin on it, and they use it to control people. So for the most part, we have to remember that the Bible came from scrolls, and those scrolls kept getting passed down generations, different cultures. Yes. And as they were getting interpreted, things got mixed up. I mean, they have scrolls where you can actually see, oh, wait, let's mark that out. That's not what that meant. Or they couldn't understand or translate properly.
Absolutely.
So it was an assumption.
It's so easy if you're telling the story to put your bias on the story. If I'm writing the book of Tonya, of course I'm going to write the book of Tonya that makes me look in a positive way. I'm not going to put oh, she did this and she did that. That's negative. I'm going to put the different spin on it. And I understand, I think sometimes too, when I was growing up, I used to tell people, are we taking the Bible too literally? Because
eye for an eye.
Because that used to be, when I grew up in Catholic schools, that was a way of controlling. It kept you in your place because Jesus was going to come or God was going to come and zap you. So, when you question things like that, like love stories in the Bible, fornication in the Bible, homosexuality in the Bible, demons in the Bible, it becomes, very pragmatic for people that don't want to answer those questions, I think.
Well, I think the other part is people have no answers.
True.
And so we have to remember, and I look at it kind of like this mindset of, and it sounds weird, I look at it like the millennial mindset, right? It's kind of like when millennials first became a thing, so to say, like, oh my God, this is a separate group of people. They were like, oh my God, look at them. They're lazy and they don't want to work their whole lives away. But then you realize the millennials just caught on earlier. Why would they go and give their whole life away to a company or something that didn't benefit them?
Right.
So I look at it like, people, when you question them about the Bible, it puts fear in them, but then also it makes them question themselves as to how and why they never questioned it. And they followed it with complete blinders on, which is why, in the Bible, they say God has a flock of sheep. He herds the sheep. And, when the sheep get out of control, he comes back and he gets them. Does that mean that these people are dim-witted or unwise? No. But we also have to remember that it has been used as a book of control. And if you go back to all of its roots and look at like how to make Negro a Christian, how to make a Christian, Negro a Christian, all of those things like that, they were taught not to question. So the thought of questioning something that was so forced upon people as this is the word, this is how we do it, it kind of puts fear into people. Not so much of what happens if they do question it, or what happens if something is different, but more so what happens if they do question and they find out that they themselves may not agree with what they've lived with so long.
It's true. I honestly think with any doctrine, if you practice ATRs, if you whatever tradition that you may be into, there are always going to be these rules and limitations that are put there so that people don't think outside of that box, because then you do lose control of whatever it is that you're trying to keep, the tradition or whatever. So with the Bible, I mean, of course, like I said, growing up in a Catholic church and a Catholic school, if you held hands with a boy, Sister Mary would tell you you were going to get pregnant or God was going to come punish you, because they use that as a way to brainwash. And I think and I don't want to think negatively of the Bible, because I for people that definitely read and are very connected to it, there's a lot of beauty in it. Some of the best stories that I have ever connected with as a child were biblical stories. I love the story of Moses. I think Moses is a badass. If I was that back there with Moses, I'd be trying to screw Moses. I'm not even gonna lie, I would be trying to be one of his wives. Because I thought he was
Sinner,
a badass.
total sinner.
Greatest conjure man that ever lived. Now
Yeah.
you can use the stories for conjure,
You can use the stories for conjure.
and it'll tell you how to do things.
But I agree. I agree.
But I think that, going like just looking at all that, we have to remember that there's pieces that are missing out of these books.
Oh,
And it
absolutely.
doesn't, I mean, the older a doctrine, there's things that are missing. So things are contradictory. But then also people have interpreted things. I mean, if you look at the King James Version, it really, really, truly started in Rome with, people taking things out and saying, okay, well, we want the Christians to kind of fit into this society. So we're going to work with them. We're going to put a little bit of what we have in there, take out what they have. And, we're just going to kind of mold it together. And then, of course, here we go to England and it's something different. But in reality, I think many of the old doctrines, ATRs, the older the doctrine is, they are spells. I mean, we didn't call them witches. We didn't call them practitioners. We called them mystics. I mean, divination is in the Bible.
Absolutely.
All these things are in the Bible. And I think what people do is they try to take these gifts that are just normally given to people. And they try to say, if it's not used for this specific thing,
then it's not good.
then it's evil.
It's not of God. Absolutely. Debbie
And if you think about it,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, if you think about it, Christ was an ascended master and he was a mystic.
Yeah.
And if you put it in those terms and look at it outside the box, who can feed all these people with such a small amount of bread and fish?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He was a powerful alchemist. Debbie brought up a point where she said there's a lot missing from the Bible, and the Vatican tries to use the fear. Of course, we know lost scrolls. We know that there's lost doctrines. We know that there's doctrines that are locked up in
Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, that are locked up in these tombs that the Vatican, that the Pope, and I call them the Catholic Mafia sometimes. They don't want that stuff to come out because there's power there.
Too is they have an assigned. I know when growing up Baptist, the preacher got to make up the sermon every week.
Mm-hmm.
But with Catholic, no matter where you go, it's that same subject.
Yeah.
Same reading.
It's an organized religion. It's a very organized, structured religion. And you don't.
Well, in my opinion,
the Da Vinci Code talks about the secrets, the synchronicities, the mysticism that is attached to biblical works.
Well, look at if you want to know what is it? A blockbuster spell, a badass blockbuster spell. Read is it Elijah 6?
It probably is, because I know every time Mama Star talks about a road opener, it's Elijah.
Okay, so it's Elijah chapter 6. If y'all want to do a road opening, read Elijah chapter 6. It'll tell you everything you need to do to get it done.
Well, I personally feel like, for me, and I know a lot of people were offended, I feel like a lot of the Catholics, like Catholic higher ups, are nothing but a bunch of practitioners anyway. It's something they already know that they're telling other people, hey, you can't do. But I mean, if you look at the Pope, his dress, all of it, you're like, that's a whole ritual garb there. It's a ritual.
I agree with you. I think with any tradition, any religion, there is always a mystical aspect to it. We're talking about a higher power, regardless if you call him Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever name that you put on the higher power, we all connect with it. It's a collective. That's why I always say I don't understand why we fight so much. And it's because nobody wants to say with the universal guard, we can all walk together. Everybody wants to have that power. You have to follow my way or else you're not doing it right. And then you got another country over here where, no, you got to do it this way or you're not going to reach the higher power. We're all going to reach the higher power. God is within us. I know a lot of people may not know that, but I feel like we all have a godly power.
Well, we're made in his image.
Right.
How can we not?
Yeah, I mean, it completely says that in the Bible.
Where
Absolutely.
I heard it. It was the Shabbat on Friday night. He was telling a story, and he said that the czar came to the village, And it was always really a scary time when the Tsar came to the village, because they could lock everything down, lock the synagogue down, so they wouldn't have a place to pray anymore. And he said, if God is all powerful and he's invisible, how does he see himself? How can he see himself if he's invisible? And nobody could figure it out. But then at the end of the story, it was because we are made in his image. So when he wants to see himself, he looks at us.
He looks at us.
So there is God in all of us.
Well, I think, also, I think once again, he speaks of the gifts that we have when he says, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. So we obviously have these abilities within us because,
he's all powerful.
We have God within us. I think, once again, though, a lot of people are afraid to say that, and they're afraid to see that. And it doesn't mean that just because you have God within you, just because you have certain gifts, that you are a blasphemer, or, that you're not following whatever spiritual belief that you have according to however you grew up or whatever you chose. It just means that you are, due to, what he placed in you, you're a divine being. And that's what that states. You're a divine being.
I think where a lot of people get conflicted with the Bible is you have on one side mystics, prophets, people that live to be 800 years, 800,000 years, that had all these magical powers that as we developed, we lost them. And I don't think we lost them. I think we do not utilize the power that is within us. But then you have the contradictory side of it, where this could have been where people came in and kind of turned in their bias. If you don't follow this rule, you will be punished. If you start to think outside the box, or you do think you're powerful, more powerful than the Most High, you will be punished.
Like in Bible.
So there's a lot of contradictory information in the Bible. And I think that's why I got frustrated, and that set me on a course to start to research, because it wasn't making sense to me. How can I be powerful, but yet I have a limit on that power? My Father is telling me that I created you in my image to be as powerful as I am, but I'm going to hold you here now. That it just didn't click with me. So there definitely, it's a lot of manipulation. And I think in any doctrine that you read, there's a lot of manipulation. You have to kind of sometimes, filter through the BS to get to what's real or what makes sense to you. And I've noticed that when you rely on spirit too, they show you things that are true for you. What may be true for me may be completely different for Lynna, or completely different for Shishi. But I've noticed that the more I become connected with spirit, the more I understand what works right for my life.
Well, it's kind of like, what do you get when you put a Catholic, a Jew, and a witch online together? Conjure crew.
True.
Yeah.
True. Even though I don't practice Catholicism like I used to, it's very voodoo.
It's very prevalent.
Voodoo is it's heavily influenced by it. It really is. And I think a lot of people, we can all sit down and have a discussion without being at each other's throats, because I think we all can respect each other's viewpoints. I don't think what you practice is wrong. I don't think what she practices wrong. I think what we practice is different from each other. But I definitely feel like there's power in everything that we all bring to the table. And I like that. I like the diversity of it.
I think it's important to realize that different cultures from around the world are going to practice different things. And when you see different cultures and they practice different things, once again, like you guys said, it's not wrong. It's just different. And I personally find it amazing. I mean, I find it intriguing because it allows us to learn. It opens our minds to different things, and it expands our awareness. So as we appreciate and learn different things, then we grow. And that's the whole purpose
We're here
of
to
our lives, is to grow.
Exactly. I think people sometimes with life, whether you choose a religious path or a spiritual path, we are here to evolve. Whether you believe in reincarnation or not, our souls come here to learn lessons so that we can grow. If you come here and you're closed-minded, that may be the lesson. That may be something that you have to work through. That's why I never, when people are like, oh, you need to jump on this person or say this, I'm like, no, that could be, they may need to struggle with that so that they can figure it out.
Since you brought that up about the lessons, some of us, we're all here to learn lessons, but the lessons may be different, or the lessons are different for everybody. Friends are also in our lives to teach us lessons. Sometimes they stay forever, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're there to teach their lesson, they leave. Let them go. I just had to say that. I'm sorry.
Well, I think, look at us. Look at 3 different people from 3 different spiritual paths that somehow intersected in a way where it's like, you know what? I like you. I like what you do. Let's move forward. Let's share knowledge. Let's learn from each other. Let's put this conjure crew up here so we can learn from other people that are coming in. So I think we've reached the point where we're open-minded, where it's like, you know what? Maybe I need to expand my thought. Maybe I need to. Let's get into this Lilith. Let's get into the beginning. Let's go back to Genesis. Because I do not personally work with Lilith. I work with Samael. Now, Samael is her husband, so Lilith comes to me through Samael. I am very respectful of her power, but I've always known Lilith through the Bible. And in fact, when I was growing up in Catholicism, they never addressed Lilith.
But Lilith is in the Bible.
She is in the Bible, but they never addressed her. Adam's first wife was Eve. That was it. There was no discussion about that. But now we realize that Adam's first wife was Lilith. And the Bible...
I think there's 2 Adams. That's a debate.
Well, there's actually 3 Adams if we go by what everything is going on. We got a lot of new agey stuff going on. But we come through where Lilith was with Adam. She did not want to be under him. She didn't feel like she should be subservient.
Because they were made at the same time. They were supposed to be equal.
That's what she felt. They were supposed to be equal.
So why should she lay under him? And then there was something about, I'd have to reread it again, that she sprouted wings and flew off.
Yeah, she said, screw this. No man, no person, nothing is going to control me. And then she was labeled. And it's so interesting because it's almost like a woman being empowered. She was created to be subservient, and somewhere she found herself and she goes, no, I'm empowered. And the moment that she realized she was empowered, she was labeled as a demon, a demon, a monster of the night. How many times?
Well, she's been called the mother of monsters.
Yeah.
Well, because she didn't want to lay under him. So she went off and she would have sex with different men, and she did have these demon babies. And then God came and said, I'm going to kill 100 of your demon babies every day.
But what made them demon babies? Because she was already labeled as difficult. She couldn't be controlled.
So that's why the story came along that, well, if they're going to kill my babies, I'm going to kill their babies.
And
which is why she gets that. That's why, everybody's like, oh, but Lilith eats children. You're like,
oh no, it's because her kids are being killed. So in retaliation, just like with the Morgan and everything else, the reason the Morgan is such a badass warrior the way she is because they killed her baby.
Right.
And she was pissed off.
It's interesting because a lot of men work with Lilith, especially a lot of men that are cheaters or out doing their dirt. They work with Lilith because if the person that they're cheating with gets pregnant, because I've heard this from several men that Lilith will take care of that for them. She brings in, what did one guy tell me? She brings in women that give you great sex. But if the woman gets out of pocket or the woman gets pregnant, Lilith comes in and takes over and takes control of that. And I have issues with that.
I do too.
How do men control a person, a spirit, a demon that literally was dispelled from the Garden of Eden because she did not want to be controlled
by a man?
And I think that's where a lot of people, I think there's so many misconceptions about Lilith that it's just kind of a little ridiculous. But we know she's a dark goddess. We
Well,
know she's a dark goddess.
um, Dawn
But
Dawn is saying I was raised Catholic and there was no Lilith. And I downloaded the Catholic Bible here. And if you look in the Catholic Bible, and I'm saying Catholic because it's in every Bible, but you can,
mhm.
but since you said Catholic, we'll go with Catholic. Look in the Catholic Bible under Isaiah 34:14. Wildcats shall meet with desert beast, satyrs shall call to one another. There the Lilith repose and find for herself a place to rest. So it's right there.
Well, I think what Dawn is saying is that they didn't talk about it.
She was not
Oh,
acknowledged.
okay.
She may
She
have
was
been
not
in scripture, but
acknowledged.
she was never. I've never heard of Lilith at any mass. In fact, when I asked about Lilith later on in life, they literally they saw her as a demon,
Hmm.
and so they said
Because she was disobedient. She didn't obey God and she didn't obey
exactly.
man. But then here we go. Here goes that question of that would then go to prove that there was more than one set of, so to say, Adam and Eve.
There was.
And now we have the situation where, okay, so you won't obey man. I'm going to give him someone else that will obey him. And that kind of expanded out to the domination of women. My thing is,
He created literally. God created two women that disobeyed Him. One said, "I'm not going to be subservient to a man." The other one came in and he said, "Do not do this." And she said, "Who are you talking to?" Eve was more submissive, but she still. I think from the beginning we need to take away from this: women do not want to be under anybody. From the beginning, the creation, women do not want to be under, and we got punished for that. We still get,
well,
like Jed said, we're still getting punished for that.
exactly. But then we go to like the Garden of Eden with the snake. Some people were like, it's Satan. But in other stories, it was said to be Lilith. The snake was said to be Lilith, who came to let Eve know you can be empowered. You don't have to be under this
I feel
man.
that
Eat the
too.
fruit. Eat the fruit. You're going to get this knowledge that he doesn't want you to have, and then you'll be free.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lilith did exactly what you said. I think she said, "Sister girl, come over here. Let me
Mhm.
holler at you for a minute. Let me tell you what it really is about. Do this and you will be free." And Eve wanted to be free.
And Alice, looking at Alice May Wilder, she's like, so the only reason she's a demon is because she didn't want to be controlled. Correct. But if you go throughout history, any woman, even in our realm, who did not want to be controlled was labeled a witch, a traitor. There
Like
was,
you just said, exactly.
there was a point in time where if a woman spoke out against her husband or had too much of an opinion, she was placed in a mental asylum. And they don't talk about that. People never tell you how many women were placed in mental asylums because they didn't want to be subservient to their husbands.
Well, even today, if you think about it, over in Islam, if the women come out of the house with anything less than a full burqa on, they could be killed.
Well, I mean,
If they laugh in public, they
you
can
can
be killed.
find the same issues in America. Women don't get paid the same amount of money that men
Mhm.
counterparts do. Women have always
Mhm.
been seen, and it's a thing to who's Eve. Eve said, "How can we be made in God's image and not be equal with man?" And I agree, but I think it is man. And when I look at the Bible from a male viewpoint, because they were the ones that were writing the books and the scriptures,
Mhm.
that women were put lowly as a form of control. Well, is this all just because of the Most High? He created us equal. So why would women all of a sudden be below or have to be subservient?
Well, he made
But
sets. The first set he
True.
created equal. The second set he
not so
used
much.
dirt and blew the breath of life into Adam's nostrils, and then
Mhm.
he took a rib from that Adam and
And
made.
created another Eve.
So there were two sets. The first set
But
was
I think what's very intriguing is like we're going to the fact that men pretty much wrote the Bible. But if you look at the Lost Bibles, there were books that women wrote,
True.
but they don't ever talk about it. So I personally,
Yeah, they didn't have a say so. You're right. Go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
I look at it like I had to do a report and I did it on the bad girls of the Bible. the Jezebels, the ones that they were like, oh, they were manipulators and they shouldn't have done that. But these wonderful women here who listen to the men and did it in God's way, those are the women that you need to follow, the virtuous women who wake up in the morning to make sure their household is taken care of and all those things. But the other women who want to wake up, maybe have a mimosa and then just sit out there and look at the flowers, those were not the good women, right? But I think what I've learned in reading the Bible is any time that anyone went against wanting to be, or went against being under a man or not wanting to be empowered, was seen as a problem or a manipulator. We have the girl who cut off John the Baptist's head. All she had to do was dance. So they're like, look at her. She just had to get the seductive dance of the king, and he cut off John the Baptist's head. And you're like, or the guy wanted to cut off John the Baptist's head anyway.
Well,
And he just kind of threw in a dance with that.
But it's contradictory because you're absolutely right and about that stuff. But there's also the Book of Ruth and the Book of Esther. Now, Esther was a master manipulator.
Mm-hmm.
She got her own holiday, okay?
True.
And she went in the guise and ended up marrying the Pharaoh and all this stuff, and then revealed herself as a Jew. He didn't like them, so that she could save her people. So it's like it's contradictory throughout. It really is.
Well, I think that's the hardest thing for women too when they are in the biblical sense. And I think that's what made me challenge Catholicism as a young woman, because I just didn't see women that were doing things that empowered them in the Bible. And I wanted to be a nun. I actually had, yes.
You would have failed.
I went through, all my
catechism and all
my catechism, my confirmation. I was going to marry Jesus and I was going to be his wife. But the problem with me was that, the priest said, you need to go ahead and read your scriptures and understand them. And when I started to read the scriptures, I did not like what I saw. And I could not represent that. It had nothing to do with my spiritual path now. But it was at the time when I was impressionable as a young woman, I didn't see myself in the Bible.
Well, I was part of the GMA, the Girls Missionary Auxiliary. I wanted to be a missionary.
Yeah, I thought Catholicism was a beautiful thing. And the idea of going to live in a convent with women that, were, living a life of faith and doing, wonderful things. Oh, yeah, thank you, sweets. In the world was enticing.
Well, I guess then I would have failed, because when I was in that Bible class and they were going over and they were like, what would Jesus do? And they asked, would you die for man's sin? And everybody in my class was like, yeah, yeah. And they were like, and Shatina, would you die for man's sin? I was like, nope. It was like, I'd start the world over. I'm good with that. I'm God. I can have a whole different
quite
world.
a few women that wanted to be nuns. So I'm not the only one. When I tell people, they always laugh at me. I would have been a hell of a nun, though. I would have. But I'm not a follower, and that would have been my problem.
That's what I'm saying. I think you would have failed, because not because you couldn't have done it, but because the priest would have said something out of pocket. Old church just be messed up. Candles just be on the floor.
Yeah, it would have been over. Because I would have been in there having a glass of wine like, look, we need to talk. Because I don't agree with this. But I think the whole thing about it is, and I'm respectful of my mom. She's still, even though she really is kind of non-denominational now, we grew up in a Catholic family, a household, where it's strange because my mom is very, she would be like a Lilith. She's been married 4 times. You couldn't tell her anything. No man could hold her still. No man could hold her down. But it was always, you need to do better, because to get to heaven, this is what you need to do. You can't practice certain things. You can't go against other things. But it was really eye-opening as a woman. And I think even for men to read the Bible that don't necessarily agree with the concept of it either. It's interesting to see people growing, and learning.
I think when you really read the Bible, like the story that got me, that I think really, that would always make my mom mad, I was like, I'm not doing it. I don't get it. Was the story of Lot. I was like, why did he do everything? I was like, he moved this man around like a chess piece. I have a problem with this. And my mom was like, no, that's not the point of the story. I was like, that's what it sounds like to me. I was like, that's what it sounds like
Yeah,
to me.
the point of the story is if you don't do what they want you to do, you'll get punished.
There's punishment. There
And
is
I was just
punishment.
like, I mean, no, and yeah, the story of Job. I was like, I remember the song my mom was singing, like, Job waited and then it always returned. I was like, but how old was Job and how long did that take? Because if it was a week, that'd be different. But if we're talking about like 1,000 years, because some of these people live forever, how
Exactly.
is that?
Exactly. Oh, I agree with Dawn too. Dawn said she thinks the nunnery is the only way that Catholic Church that allows empowered women who are faithful to some degree, and I will agree with that. I think that part of my vision of being a nun was to be empowered.
Yeah, because you can't.
Because I was marrying Jesus. I mean, what? How high else can you get?
You can't be a pope. You can't be a
It's
priest.
the closest thing that you can get, but you would have to be somebody's wife and do what he tells you to do. You're right. You would not get the same degree.
Mhm.
Now, in present day, they do have sisters that literally, as much as the church will allow, and some of this I think is not regulated, but I've seen some nuns that really step out and do things. But I don't feel like that's the norm. Because
Right.
the Vatican is very structured on what the role of a female is in the church. They
Right.
are. Like you say, there will never be a female pope. Not in my lifetime.
Well, now, Joan was a female, but she had to dress as a man and live as a man, and they didn't know she was a woman until a baby came out.
Yeah, but she was persecuted for that.
Mm-hmm.
You have, even with Pride Month, you have transgenders that claim Joan because she did live out loud. They felt like her sexuality was male. They
Mm-hmm.
felt like she didn't just dress up because she was trying to fit in. They felt like she actually lived as a male.
Mm-hmm.
But she was condemned and persecuted because of that.
I think,
That's why
when I look at, there's so much that goes on with the Catholic Church. To me, it's like a big black hole that you could sit in and talk about for eons and still never even scratch the surface
Oh,
of the
absolutely.
Catholic Church. I look at the Catholic Church because it is the only religious entity that has its own country, its own area code, its own zip code.
Oh, yeah.
And if you think about it, all the secrets that are held in the Vatican. And I think what I learned, what really struck me about the Vatican was when I had gone to Switzerland, I had done a field trip, and they were like, the Swiss guards that guard the Catholic Church are some of the most vicious guards out there. Their training, all the things, they're like, that's what they're designed to do. You are not getting in the Vatican if they say you can't get in the Vatican.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what could the Vatican hold that it would be willing to take people out, just to protect? And there's so much information in the Vatican.
Well, there's corruption. I mean, when you really dig deep into it, there's corruption because it's about power. And I think a few people have said that. It's about power. Religion and spirituality has been held over people's head for centuries to keep people in line. It's about who can control it.
But if you look throughout, still continuing history, if you look at the old religions and when they had the grimoires and things, the Catholic churches did not burn the grimoires of strong witch families. They kept them. Why would you need to keep a
They're in some type of secret vault. It has been practiced. The Catholic Church and the military and you know what, I can't say it because we might get red flag. But honestly, if you're a conspiracy theorist or not, you know that there's a lot more that's being shown to people. There's a lot more that is out there. The military does some incredible things that do not exist. The Catholic Church does some incredible things that does not exist. There's so many different things that are out there. So many different things. I think, let me see, secrets about Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Yes. Yes, that's true.
I think if people would, just like Dawn said, if people would look at that and you'd be like, and actually think about it, they'd say, wait a minute. he did what? And then this happened?
Mm-hmm.
But then that's why they use the Bible the way they use the Bible.
Well, it's interesting too because somebody was even talking about sacrificing kids and things like that. When I first came into voodoo, and of course, there's sacrifices, there are animal sacrifices, and so many people that were at the time, Christian, and I've never had a problem with anybody's belief, but all of a sudden they were like, you can't do that. That's not right. That's and I was like, what are you talking about? I grew up reading the Bible.
No.
Tons of people got sacrificed.
It's in the
Oh,
Bible,
yeah.
but even I don't remember what book. Abraham and Isaac. God told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. It was a test, and he bound him up on the stone and was about to kill him. He had the knife raised and was about to kill him, and God told him to stop and sacrifice the ram that was caught in the bush.
He wanted to test his faith.
I'm pointing over here like there's a bush over here.
Hey, look, I'm looking at you over there too. Like, what is over there? But I get it because
it's that lamb, Tonya, right over there in the.
It says in the Bible that human sacrifice is no longer, as of that point, acceptable, but animal sacrifice is.
Right. Exactly.
But I think what really bothered me, for me in the Bible, where I'm like, okay, the Bible is that, and then I just can't rock with it, was I felt that there was too much manipulation and contradiction. My mother was always mad at me. I was like, well, Mom, if we're supposed to be like God, not the Jesus part, like the God overseeing God, then why can't we get jealous? Why can't we get angry? Why can't we have vengeance? And she's like, don't question that. That's not,
exactly.
Don't
That's what I was saying
that.
at the beginning.
Well, and I was like,
yeah.
You have to ask those things, but then you're also like, what if Mary said, I don't want to carry Christ?
Here's my thing. Can I say something?
Of course.
And I'm going to piss off a lot of people.
Oh, well, let me take a sip first.
Because
I don't have anything to sip on.
I've been thinking about this, all right? In the commandments, thou shalt not covet another man's wife. Now, Mary was not married to Joseph at the time. However, she was betrothed to him. So, in God's eyes, she was his wife. Now, if that's one of the commandments, why would God force himself on her and impregnate her, not like physically, but you know what I'm saying, and make her bring Jesus into this world? No, ma'am. You want to know mine, and I don't give a shit if people say it's a conspiracy theory or not. She was 14 years old, which maybe back then that was okay.
That was acceptable.
But if she's betrothed to a man, and it goes to women today, because we're all still the same, and everybody at some point, and they can lie if they want to, I don't care, has told some man that she was pregnant in order to trap him. Or if she got pregnant by somebody else, one of his friends, she told him it was his. So if she never had sex with Joseph and all of a sudden became pregnant while she's off visiting Elizabeth, well, God did it.
Well, but we got to go.
I'm just saying.
I get that, but we got to go through the story. Mary thought it was an honor to carry, bring Jesus, and to bring him into the world. He came to her in a dream. He told her, "You're going to carry my."
Do that if she was already betrothed to another man?
Because he's God, and God, he been pimping. That's what he does.
But you have to remember, like, I get what you're saying, Lynna, but
another man's wife.
Yeah,
right. But here's the thing, though, right?
His mule either.
The more power and more money you had back in that day, you could have whatever you wanted. The same as now. So if you could take care of me, as many wives as you want. So who is it? Where's the story? I'm like, I lost it. Where's the story where this guy wanted the woman and killed her husband? What was it? I know the story's in the Bible, and I'm like, darn it.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like where he wanted that woman.
I know the story. Yeah, he wanted her, and he killed her husband so that he could marry her. Oh God, I can't believe I'm having a brain fart.
I know. I'm like, man. I'm like, no, because he was powerful. He had the money. He had the means. So I know you look at like that. Look at the impregnation of Mary that way. I look at the impregnation of Mary as rape.
Well, that's what I said. He forced himself on her.
Well, spiritual rape, and we have men that do that today, that use
Yeah.
magic and alchemy to get over on women, and don't use chemicals to drug them. They attack them spiritually. Women are still, well, I can't even just say women. There are men that are being
There's men out there
in
too.
the spiritual, sexually succubus
And I
entities that are
know,
coming in that do that.
and I know we definitely, if somebody is up there and they're devout, and we stepped on some toes, definitely with that. But my problem is that's why I was like, what if she didn't want that? What if she was like, what if it wasn't like, oh, it's a great honor? What if she had to say it was a great honor because she got stuck with it?
Well, biblically, the story is that she consented. Now, of course, that's going to go with the bias of the person who
No,
wrote
because
the
the
book.
story is Gabriel came down and said that
You're
you're
carrying the
going to have
Christ.
a child. When she was at Elizabeth, that's what I'm saying. She wasn't even around Joseph. She's in another
Right,
town.
right. I know.
So if she lied, here, and get this, we'll take it even further. We're
Well, let me take another sip.
We're going to stomp on the toes. Okay. I live in Texas. I'm burning up right now, and it's probably only in the 70s or low 80s. But there are people right here in the United States, kind of, it ain't really United States, yes, my opinion, that live in Alaska that can't come down here because it'll kill them. And I damn sure I'm not going to live in Alaska. There are people in Ethiopia that eat certain things, or even in Japan and China that eat certain things that I ain't fucking going to eat. So if she lied, let's just run with this theory for just a minute.
If Mary lied.
Yeah, if Mary lied and had sexual relations, as Eddie Murphy would call it.
Mary would not do that. But let's go. Let's go with it.
I was like, oh no, I don't know if Mary would want somebody.
Because we have Mary Magdalene, who was a prostitute. So why wouldn't this Mary do it? And she was of age at 14 back
Blasphemy,
then.
Lynna. Blasphemy.
Well, I feel like because
okay.
she would be stoned. She would be stoned.
She did get pregnant by another man.
Mm-hmm.
She went back and she all of a sudden realizes she was pregnant because she's like 3 months before she ever left to go back home. So she wakes up in the middle of the night and runs and tells Elizabeth, oh my God, God came to me in a dream. And she's got to keep this lie going. And there are women today that will lie about shit and keep that shit going forever, ever. So once she told this lie, let's say it's a lie, okay? Once she told this lie, then now she has this baby. So now the lie moves on to the baby. Just stick with me. The lie moves on to the baby. So now the baby believes that he is the son of God. So he's going to try to live up to that his entire life.
But he did have powers. Jesus was an alchemist. Where did he get the powers from?
We all have power.
Okay. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. Lynna, spinning it. Hold up. Let's take a break. Hold up.
People that eat raw fish, and I don't eat raw fish, they were raised that way. If he was raised to believe he's the son of God, then in his mind, he manifests himself into the son of God.
So you're saying it was like a cult mindset?
But he was raised that way.
Because he grew up that way.
More like a cultural mindset. He was raised that way.
Don brought up a valid point, though. What if Mary was not the only one that God propositioned to carry his child into the world? What if God did go to other females and say, I need you to do this, and they said no?
I still don't understand why he would go to a woman that was already somebody else's woman. That's
because if he went to a woman that was not someone else's woman or was not betrothed, the child would be a bastard and would have no rights or benefits or anything at all.
If it's God's son, he wouldn't have been a bastard.
No, he would have been.
Well, technically, I mean, was she going to go to the village and say this spirit or this voice spoke to me and I got pregnant? She would be outcasted. She could be killed.
Yeah, she pretty much did that anyway.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I think she had a husband that gave her some type of credibility that could have been his child in a different village. Now, Don is saying Mary Magdalene was not a prostitute. She was a goddess cult that partnered a partner to Jesus.
Well, I think that she was Jesus's partner. And I still believe the story that after he was sacrificed, she disappeared. She got in a boat. She was pregnant and she went on. So there is a bloodline somewhere.
That connects to Jesus.
And she was a disciple, but they don't talk about her.
Right.
Followed him around. She preached. She did everything just like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
These are some interesting concepts. They are some interesting concepts. I mean, I'm completely open. I always joke with people that if I was to get pregnant now, Jesus himself would have to come down and explain to me what the fuck just happened. Because I would not be in agreement. I would 100%. I don't care if he was supposed to come here and save the world. I would not want it. So
what are you guys drinking? I'm like, I feel like I'm the only one with a dry. I just have
lemonade.
I'm jealous. I feel like I need to get wine.
But that is interesting. If God is that powerful to have that much say so over someone's life, that he does impose his will.
But he does. He's done that multiple times throughout the Bible.
Right.
And so you can't say he's not that kind of being. I think the other part, though, and it's a question that I pose often, they're like, why is everyone so mad at Lucifer / Satan when he didn't kill anybody in the Bible? But God killed.
That was brought up on the TV show too.
Just a mere mention of his being was all it took, right?
It was brought up on the TV series. Lucifer was not necessary. Lucifer is not cast in hell to go through punishment because he's not being punished down there. He's more.
That was his assignment.
He is more or less a gatekeeper.
Yeah, that was his assignment.
So if everybody has a job right now, Jazz is at her job, Jordan's at his job, we at our job. We all in different places, but we're still all family because I'm part of your family too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all in different places, but we have our jobs. So Michael's job is to be the warrior. So Lucifer's job is to keep an eye on the bad people, make sure they stay where they're supposed to be. He's a gatekeeper.
I do agree that that's his position. I've never felt that Satan was something that people needed to be afraid of if you weren't, and I don't even know. I feel like we're living in hell. So I don't even believe in the concept of going to hell. To be honest, I think this is fucking hell.
Well, yeah,
but
that's just another thing too. In the Bible, it says that when the Messiah comes, the earth is going to return back to the paradise.
So now I'm gonna, because I posted it on my page, but I know you guys didn't comment. There was a concept that was presented by a professor of what if Lucifer and Jesus are the same person? Because his name is Lucifer Morningstar, but then Jesus says, I am the bright and morning star.
Interesting concept. We got
what if
a little Gemini energy going on?
Yeah. But it was interesting. I'll have to see if I can find it again, but because I think I saved it. But she said, "What if the fact that things got mixed up and they're the same individual?"
No, wait a minute. Could be. And then Rob is saying Satan is Hebrew for adversary. Lucifer is a fallen star in Latin. Different origins. Very interesting.
But also in the occult world, Satanists and Luciferians follow two different things. Luciferians are about enlightenment and knowledge, whereas Satanists are about the carnal pleasure and carnality of the world.
True.
Yeah, but Lilith was made in God's image, but she's a demon.
Well, she's a demon because she did not comply to God. She did not submit. So she was labeled.
What I'm saying is Lucifer is one thing, and then he could be called Satan, but he's still, it depends on how you look at it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like in the occult world, they're two different things, just like the same as what Rob was saying.
There's so many interesting comments. It's moving too fast, so I'm gonna wait for some of them to come back.
I can scroll back.
Because I think they're all coming. Because I think everybody we're looking for concepts that make sense to us. Each person is going to have their way of thinking about it.
And you know what? I just thought about that. That may be that way on purpose so that each individual can relate in some way. There's
But
so
then
many
wouldn't
different
it take into account?
contradictions so that everyone can relate in some way.
But then wouldn't it extend out, right? Let's just say, because now we're gonna keep moving outside that box a little bit. That if Lilith was labeled a demon because she did not want to follow the rules or be under a man, then what are the rules of the other demons? Like, why is it that there's so much fear these other beings? Because I was taught not all demons are bad. They're
They're
just
not,
the same as
and not all
angels.
of them are. I
And-
mean, we're all
And
born.
not all angels are good.
We're all
We
born
have
with
a guardian demon, so we
Mhm.
can't say that all demons are bad. If you look at Lilith, and we just look at this, you see a woman
She's a
that's
warrior.
got wings, she has a sword, she's empowered.
She looked like the female.
She's
Michael.
empowered. So I
Yeah.
don't think that the people that work with her now, people call her Lilith goddess. A lot of people, but when you look at her biblical terms and the way that she's addressed online, what do they call her? The night monster, you
The
know,
mother of demons.
the mother of demons. Most women that work with her to cause abortions or miscarriages with other women. They pick out the negativity of the demon or the angel that they work with, and that's what they use. But it doesn't necessarily mean that is the only concept of that.
I really like. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you.
go ahead.
I like what Eve is saying with Lilith was persecuted for recognizing her power early. And I like Anthony. He said the fear is so you won't recognize and claim your power.
Well, absolutely. I think anytime you label somebody, if you and I have a falling out and I come in, I say, she's a bitch, you don't want to work with her. What I'm trying to do is downplay your power so that people will not follow you. That is something that people have been doing since the beginning of time. We see it in the Bible. Now, Jed wants to know, can we address guardian demons?
That's going to have to be a whole nother show.
We can introduce it here, but the same way that you are dealt with a guardian angel, you also have a guardian demon. Doesn't necessarily mean when people think demon, they think of some deep, dark, evil thing that's going to come and disrupt. And I think if anything, you could use an angel. I use Michael as a warrior.
Well,
kick ass, which means
you have the book here? I know you do. Where would it
I have the book? Isn't it Warrior Angels?
Is it over there?
You know what? Then I don't know where the book is because I take it out the deck.
Is it Warrior Angels?
Would it be in the bedroom?
Maybe? It could be Warrior Angels.
No, I'm talking about the book that came with the deck, the hard book that has the demons and the angels.
It's somewhere in my closet. So I don't have it out. But it has the dates. It has the birth dates of the demon that connects with you and what it does.
Yeah, so when it depends on your birth date, and you can look to your birth date, and I think it also has whether you're born in the morning or the evening.
Because there's certain times that you can work with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, it determines which, because there's 72 demons.
Yeah.
72 angels. So it tells all the different angels and all the different demons, but you have one for the morning, one for the evening. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes from the time you were born and the date you were born to determine who your demons and who your angels are.
And you can actually Google that. You can
have to but you're still gonna have to post the book. That's very intriguing. Because I haven't heard of a book like that, but I did kickstart the Notoria and the Goetia tarot decks, which work with the angels and the demons. They're two different parts of it.
Yeah, this is the angel and demon deck.
Yeah.
And it comes with a grimoire, and it's just amazing. I paid a lot of money for that deck. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah.
Do you have that deck over there?
I do not have it out, but let me see. No, this one doesn't have the date. But it has the demons in their astrological connection if they're towards Libra and things like that. But the book, no, I don't have it out.
The grimoire will tell you if your birthday is October 31st, you were born at 7:47 a.m. This is your demons. These are your angels.
Yeah.
I think that, definitely, Tanya, when you get that book out your closet, wherever it may be hidden, definitely send a picture because I'm intrigued by that.
I will, because it actually goes with this deck. You want to show them the deck?
Oh, it's the Oracle of Heaven and Hell. And
Let
let
me
me show
see.
you the cards.
But we can discuss that next time, and I'll get the book
Like, see
because you'll
here,
have your book
you
too.
have an angel on top and a demon on the bottom. So depending
Oh,
on how you shuffle, it
it
comes
looks
out.
like it was a Kickstarter.
It is. It's by Travis something.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like you can just buy it.
Mm-mm. No, I bought it. I got the like deluxe package.
But also the Fallen Angel deck
But
has the same thing with the demons.
I think you can buy the cards now, but you won't get the books. You won't get the grimoire and stuff.
I'm gonna try to find it.
By Travis McHenry, that's his name.
We should do Guardian Demons and then have Marcus,
Oh yeah,
the Demon King, come on with us because he knows everything demon.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a really good discussion because a lot of people are afraid because society has told them that they need to be afraid. But if you deal with your shadow side, some of y'all are demons.
demons are not all
Yeah.
bad though.
No, but I mean, really, we have there's so much more when it comes to learning about yourself and your power and things that you connect with that you wouldn't even think that you do connect with, but you do.
Yeah. I'm in search of.
I embrace my inner demons. I really do.
I show mine all the time. No.
Hey, some people say I do too, but I mean, it's one of those things. If you're going to work with your angels and you're going to work with other spirits and your ancestors, why not?
They're
Why
all
limit
spirits.
yourself?
Whether they're angels or demons, they're all spirits.
I think that's intriguing. I have not seen that deck, so I just
Oh,
posted
Carla,
that I'm
and you
searching
can buy
for it.
both of them on Bloodstone Studios.
Oh yeah, that's the website. Travis's website's Bloodstone Studios.
Yeah.
I forgot. I did buy it on Kickstarter though.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for
Just left-handed workers. Not everybody.
I'm just waiting for my Goetia Tarot. I do have the Lucifer Tarot, which is out of print, and that has I think that has 100 and something demons in it, not 72.
Oh, they threw in some additional demons.
They have the main demons and then the lesser demons, I believe.
But you got to look at it too. You can't do all white magic. You can't do all black magic. There's a mix in there. So why can't you have demons with angels and demons that work with angels?
But we've seen that. We've seen that in Supernatural.
Yeah.
You've seen that demons and angels can work well.
Yeah, if y'all, I'm going to throw a plug in here. I've done all the monthly tarot scopes this month already. So if y'all go to my YouTube channel, you can look up your zodiac sign. This month I used the Supernatural deck. And in probably most of the readings, you're going to have angels and demons in your reading together.
But the curious thing is when you look at it biblically, angels and demons have always been at each other's throats. When you go back in through the biblical and scriptures, there's always been conflict and fight. You very rarely do you see something where they work together. But a lot of people do utilize that in this day and age. O'Shea said Phoebe loved her demon and went to bat for him. Balthazar, I loved Balthazar. Even Balthazar on Charm. Balthazar, even when he was red and black and looking all kind of hot.
Crazy. Ooh.
I think Crowley was sexy. But I think Lucifer's sexy too.
Well, Lucifer is
definitely sexy.
Not in the Supernatural series, in the other one.
Oh yeah, no, in the other one for sure.
Jen said worked with both hands, and some spirits both divine and destructive, like Santa Marta. That's true.
Well, here's the thing too. If you wash your hands, you don't wash your hand like this. You wash your hands like this. It takes one hand to wash the other.
Well, I think there's a lot of growth. Like I said, I think that's why we come here to learn. I think honestly, if you discard everything that you don't necessarily agree with, it doesn't make you search. Sometimes you need those things that are the catalyst for you to dig deeper. The Bible, I think, for a lot of people is the catalyst where it's like, okay, it answers this question, but it gives me this other question. So now I need to dig deeper. And it actually leads a lot of people on their spiritual journey. I will never discount it. I think there's a lot of contradictions in it for sure.
Yeah, I think I believe in the Bible. Just because I said that about Mary doesn't mean I don't believe in the
Right.
Bible. I do believe in the Bible, okay? And I know the Bible back and forward. Well, a lot of it anyway, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know all of it. It's too long. But I agree with the Bible, but there are questions in there that do make you say, well, what if she did go out and hook up with some other dude and raised her son to believe that? Of course, he's going to believe it. Kids believe in Santa Claus until somebody tells them different,
I think it opens.
because that's the way we raise them.
I think it opens up the
But
line of communication.
that doesn't mean that I don't agree with the Bible. It just means I have questions.
Well, Dawn is right. It's like one-on-one class. It really is for a lot of people because it is literally the opening, and then you move deeper into other works and other books. Because it literally things you didn't even know existed show up in the Bible, and it's like, well, let me research this.
Right.
Let me go look for it in another thing, and that happens. So I agree with Dawn.
I think one thing I'm curious about, and it's not actually the Bible. I think it's in Czech Republic or whatever. That supposedly a guy was possessed by Satan, and he wrote a book, and the book is so long and so heavy as to be carried by 4 people.
Wow.
It has infinite knowledge and rituals in there.
Well, they brought that up on Supernatural too, with the prophets and the tablets.
So just like there's angel books, there's demon books as well.
Absolutely. With the Shakers, I want to know why everyone has a book in the Bible but Jesus.
That's interesting. That is a very good question.
Well, the stories of Jesus are told from the disciples' point of view, though. But
wouldn't you want to know his perspective?
Yeah. Like why? Maybe he didn't want to be chosen. Maybe he didn't want to be crucified. Maybe there's a reason why Jesus didn't put a story.
He felt forsaken. He did say in the Bible,
Father, why have you forsaken me?
And he asked, he was like, please take this burden from me.
Yeah, which I think I think anybody would have done.
But going back to the research and it being a one-on-one class, when he was 12 years old, he ran away and went to the temple to study about God. Because even he himself had to study.
He had questions. He had questions. I agree with you that there were a lot of things that were kind of forced in on people in that time.
I still want to know what happened to the dinosaurs. Because we find their bones. They were real. But we know them bitches couldn't fit on the ark. So is that what distinguished the dinosaurs? They drowned in the flood?
I thought the meteorite came down and did the dinosaurs in. I thought it was like boom.
But that was not before the ark.
Oh, okay. I've never given much thought to the dinosaurs.
Couldn't fit on the ark.
Okay, so we got to do another Conjure Crew. What happened with the dinosaurs?
Well, the interesting thing is I was watching Discovery Channel. It was when I was younger, and they were saying that there's a part of a mountain where you can actually see what they think is Noah's Ark. And it's usually hidden by snow. And so there's only certain times where you're actually able to see this huge, enormous boat. And they're like, we are pretty sure that's Noah's Ark, but they can't get to it because of the temperatures and the snow.
How convenient. It said the dinosaurs were dead before the Garden of Eden.
But how could that be if the earth was water
and uninhabited
and without void until he brought together the land,
separated? Because God created life. So if they weren't there, then there couldn't have been any life.
And the dinosaurs were during the caveman time.
If it was before the Garden of Eden, there was no land, and dinosaurs are mostly land animals.
But Maricella's saying the same thing. Dinosaurs lived before humans lived on the earth.
But we have bones here in Texas.
So God created the dinosaurs first, and then he came back and decided he wanted to put humans?
Maybe it's part of that other world. It was the first Adam.
Okay, so we gotta do a talk. Now I'm interested in the dinosaurs because I never really cared about the dinosaurs.
They're finding them here, like in East Texas.
I know,
but the United States used to be separated. The Texas wasn't even here; it was all underwater.
Right.
Well, the world was all one continent until it separated. It was all one chunk of land until it separated.
Well, not if you look back in the old maps, the United States was like 2 pieces of land, and the ocean come right up through the middle. Texas wasn't here. This
Ooh.
part of land was not here. It
True.
was covered by water.
You're right.
But they say that there used to be a connection, like from Asia, that would connect to other spots. And it was like they actually showed the road. It's underwater now, and it's really light, but it was a road.
It's really interesting because I remember going to Honduras and going in one of those those things that dive underwater, which I don't know how the hell I was on that because I was claustrophobic and thought I was going to die the whole fucking time.
The yellow submarine.
Yes, but I was looking out the window and there's roads, and of course we didn't go all the way down. You know, you drop a little bit, but there literally are roads that are in the ocean. And I was so fucking freaked out by that.
Well, Atlantis is supposedly fell into the ocean.
Okay,
too.
so now we got to do a discuss. Okay, so we got to do demons, we got to do dinosaurs, and we got to do Atlantis.
Atlantis will be fun.
Okay, because we got to know. Okay, so wait a minute. Jed said, God created dinosaurs. The first world was not created in 7 days, so there was another world.
Yeah,
like
maybe
you were
that's
saying.
Where the other
and there were so many religions predating Christianity. Why is one creation myth the gospel truth? Very interesting, very true.
You know what?
I mean, that would go to, like, I know a lot of people.
In Genesis,
but I thought dinosaurs and humans coexisted.
That's what I thought too.
He created them. Where's it at?
He created them, and then he created Adam and Eve. So are them the dinosaurs?
But notice what you just said. He created them, then he created Adam and Eve. Did the first set not even have, the man didn't even have a name. But yet we're calling him Adam.
Okay.
Think about that.
2 continents fell in the ocean. Okay.
So can we go to the fact that this would bring up that whole like black hole of where people are like, well, the aliens were here first?
Well, Lynna brought that up this morning in bed when we were snuggling in bed together. And she was saying that, the first people were the aliens. And then God created Adam and Eve. Now, I thought, and I was rolling with that because I was thinking the aliens were here, the meteorite came in, killed the dinosaurs, and then Adam and Eve were created. But something is funky with the timeline with me. Something is funky with it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to research.
We have to research.
But this is not like a research that I can get done in a week for sure. I think I need some time.
So what do you want to? So next week, what do y'all want to deal with? You want to start with like the demons or Atlantis
or dinosaurs?
Which one will you be?
We need a biology book. Jed, I'm gonna go look for me because I've never really. Even the only thing I think I've ever thought about dinosaurs was Jurassic Park. I have to say, I've never really thought about dinosaurs.
They find bones right here, right down the road from where we live.
Okay,
so everyone is saying they want demons next week.
So we'll do demons next week. So dinosaurs and human existed at the same time, but I thought dinosaurs were before Adam and Eve. So it was the first planet. It was the first people.
Eve says that they have them. They've been carbon dated, the footprints right alongside each other.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to research. I'm going to read because Jed is right. I'm going to look at the biology of it because I don't know the timeline or the biology, and I can be real honest. I'm very ignorant with that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that was intriguing, but I think we definitely need some time to research that.
Well, yeah, because with that you would have to go factual because there's dates.
Yeah. All right, so hold on. Look, I got to write this down. Hold on. So next week, which is what, the 13th?
We'll do demons and angels.
We'll do demons.
We're doing demons and angels. And so that means on the 20th, right? Is my timeline right?
No, next week, though, I can't be here next week.
Okay, so the week after, whenever you can come back in.
So let's take a break next week.
And then that'll give us time to research and then come back.
Because I have to drive Taylor to vet camp.
So y'all do your research too on the angels and demons. So you'll have your questions, and we can all just learn together. And then we'll kind of go into Atlantis or the dinosaurs after that.
And if
so Ariel, from what I understand, giants were created because angels, but supposedly angels came down and mated with humans, which is how we got giants.
That would be the Palestinians. That'll take us up into modern day with Gaza and all. But anyway.
But I know people that work with the giants on their altar.
That would be the Palestinians, Goliath.
Right. Interesting.
So yeah, if y'all want to share your birthday and find out the time you were born, we can tell you what your angels and demons were.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna see if I can get that book ordered beforehand, though. So I'm looking at the site now.
Hit me up. I'll hit you up.
Ginger, I think that's my biggest problem too, is the timelines don't seem logical to me. And I'm a very logical person. And the timelines are throwing me off. So I agree with you. I think even if I believed in the biblical aspect of it, the time in the Bible throws me off. And then when you start adding in other dinosaurs and giants and things like that, yeah, I have questions. I definitely have questions.
So what next week we're doing? Are we gonna do it every 2 weeks or every week? Because then I
Well,
need to
I
know.
just have to. Taylor got into that vet camp at A&M, so I have to drive her to College Station next weekend.
Okay. I just want to know because I'm like trying to break down the time I have to research, you know.
Yeah, Don put the date up there.
So the next time is the 20th then, and that's demons. So that means the 27th would be Atlantis or dinosaurs or giants.
You want to wait and see what the people of that week necessarily want to do?
Well, I think
Yeah,
it
I'm
would
gonna
become
write down.
I got the grimoire right here.
You have it?
Mm-hmm. Let me see if
Let me pull my map up so I can put my calendar so I can put it in.
okay. It's okay. I know where that's at. All right, I'm going to go over here. Oh, shit.
So when
Sorry,
are
I
you
keep yawning, y'all. I need
leaving or
to
13th?
I'm leaving on 13th. I got to drive her there, and then she starts camp 14th, 15th, 16th, and we'll drive back to 16th.
Okay, so the 20th. I didn't know that was Father's Day.
Oh.
Okay, I got it in.
So what are we doing on 20th?
The demons and the angels.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, I have demons and angels on the 20th. So I just need to get that book.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to find the.
What are you looking for, the book?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to send it to her.
Oh no, I found it. I just gotta get it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to send it to you.
Oh, on PDF?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're so sweet. I didn't know he did the oh yeah, the Oracle of Heaven and Hell is out.
He has a lot of decks, doesn't he?
He has the Hieronymus Bosch, which I was looking at getting.
Oh,
And he has
look,
the
I'll put it in my
demons
book.
own playing cards and the angels own playing cards. So yeah, I need to post in search of Heaven and Hell Oracle.
Oh. It's too large. You'll have to send me your email address.
No problem. I can do that now.
Well, okay, my loves. I'm going to have to skedaddle because I got a class that I have to go to. But this was really interesting. It really was.
It was fun.
When you, Jed wants to know, what is this book?
Oh, it's the Oracle of Heaven and Hell grimoire.
It's $36 on his website.
That's not bad. It's a really good book because it breaks down the demons and the angels.
That's the BloodstoneStudios.com.
Correct.
BloodstoneStudios.com.
Yep.
All right, guys. So we will see you in 2 weeks. If you missed anything or you want to go back and watch it, it'll be available on my YouTube channel. And like I said, I use the Supernatural. So if y'all want to go watch your Terrascopes, you're more than welcome to. I'm trying to build my channel. That's why I keep bringing it up. Not even going to lie.
Oh, Ginger was
Go for it. Because I'm looking at your videos so I can start building you whatever I got to build. I was like, oh, God.
All right. And it's a new channel. So if you were subscribed before, you ain't subscribed now. You'll have to resubscribe. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks then.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was a great conversation. I learned some new things.
Fun.
I still got some questions though, but love you guys. Bye, Shishi.
Love you.
Bye. Have fun.